Welcome back. We're still with the Minister of Water Resources, Engineer Adamu. Thank you for joining us once again. Water, we know, plays a very critical role in agriculture. And the minister even went as far as saying so, because agriculture wants to be used now as a new cash cow. So how is this ministry going to help provide that needed amount of water that we need to boost agriculture at the moment?
That is the more reason why we must go back to our National Water Resources Master Plan, because in that program it has identified all the potential areas for irrigation. It has identified the key water infrastructure that needs to be developed to be able to support that irrigation potential. And for many years, that has not been the case. Nobody has been following this program. We've been spending money on small and inconsequential projects. So
what do you regard as inconsequential?
Well, projects that have no impact on the larger society.
For instance?
Constituency projects. The Ministry of Water Resources should not be saddled with constituency projects, building classrooms and street lights. That's not our business.
Where did that happen?
Where it's been happening.
Where?
Here, in this ministry.
Can you cite examples?
Go and look at the budgets for the last 3, 4, 5 years, and you see what you understand what I'm talking about. Okay. They're all there, at the expense of irrigation projects, at the expense of key dam projects that we need to do, at the expense of developing and improving on our hydropower potential. This is what has been going on, and that is what we want to move this ministry away from, so that we can concentrate on those strategic projects to provide the backbone to the policy on agriculture. And in doing that, as if we have been following the trend since February or so, we've been engaging the River Basin Development Authority, because they hold the dams and the irrigation systems. And if you look at our roadmap also, you see that we are proposing a huge investment in irrigation and irrigation-supported infrastructure.
Let's take a look at this. You said Nigeria needs 1.5 trillion naira to attain 500,000 hectares of irrigation by 2030. And that's among other projects that you intend. This is very huge. How do you intend to achieve this?
Well, we are hopeful that the money will be there. That is even just an aspect that we are trying to promote under normal government procurement. But Nigeria has a potential of 3.14 million hectares of irrigable land, out of which not up to 10% is being used today. Yes. What we want to do is for government to support the infrastructure to get us from the about 75,000 hectares or 135 that has been developed to 500,000 hectares. But we're still saying also that we'll encourage large-scale commercial farmers and investors to expand the irrigation potential by another 1 million, so that maybe by 2030 we expect to have a minimum of 1.5 million hectares. That's ambitious, but you have to start somewhere. Because
when you plan, you put down immediate and long-term strategies. You should also be looking at the funding.
Oh, sure.
How is that going to come about?
Well, part of our roadmap was also to discuss and to study and look at potential areas of funding. It has to be two-way. There has to be the public-private partnership approach, and there has to be government must continue to invest a certain amount of money into infrastructure.
How much are we talking about?
Well, you mentioned it, 1.something trillion.
Is that all?
As far as irrigation is concerned, but there are other areas also. Okay. But we're optimistic that the country will change for the better, and the resources will be found.
Even as water is a natural resource, free as it is, it's not so free in so many areas across the country, really. If you go to communities where we should have potable water, that is non-existent. It's quite shocking, considering that we have a huge natural resource called water. I'm wondering now, how do you intend to solve this particular problem before we go into the River Basin Development Authorities and what they're doing?
Let me say this. There seems to be a misconception, because everybody, when people open their taps and don't see water, the first person they think of is the Minister of Water Resources. But it's not so.
You wouldn't believe that.
Yeah, the responsibility for taking water to your taps rests with the state water agencies. And in the case of Abuja, the FCT Water Board. Yes. Our role as Ministry of Water Resources is to provide the Gurara dams, the Lower Usma dams, the conveyance systems at least, and the interbasin transfer there, and other major sources, so that major towns can now tap into it, build their treatment facilities, transmission and distribution and storage facilities. That is the responsibility of states. What happens is, because over time, especially with the devaluation of our currency over the decades, it has become very difficult for states to fund this comprehensive infrastructure. So sometimes the federal government comes in to support them. It's not a right. It's just it's an intervention.
Let's understand how the states, are they really willing to, to partner with private sector? Are they willing, do you see that willingness to partner with the federal government to bring water, potable water, to reality in many communities that we see?
Well, they are more than willing to do that, because they know that water is very critical to the communities, and they don't have the resources they don't have enough resources to provide the water. So they are very much keen. Every day I get requests from states willing to looking for some support from the federal government. So I'm sure they'll be willing to do that. But one other thing is that there has not been an enabling environment for the private sector to participate in water distribution in this country. The reason being that there is no enabling water resources law in the country. And for that reason, there wouldn't be a regulator to oversee that aspect. So no private investor will come in when there is no regulator to be an umpire.
It's surprising that such a bill lay static, for over the years, just as this, the 11 River Basin Development Authorities, ever since it was established, we're wondering how much success story has been recorded.
Well, I don't know what happened to the bill. There's been, back and forth, but at least we took the bull by the horn, and I'm very happy with the development so far. Regarding the river basins, there are actually 12. Yes, they have not been operating the way they should. I've been very disappointed myself, and that is why I focused a lot of energy on them since I was appointed. And I believe we have made a lot of progress. We intend to professionalize them properly. We're working with the Bureau for Public Enterprise now to make sure that we're able to get them commercialized in the next few years. I gave them a target of 24 months to start showing results that they can be on their own. We hope that before the end of this administration, our river basins should be able to stand on their own and shouldn't require budgetary allocation for them to be able to do their work.
So what is really happening to these authorities? Are they generating any money for the country?
Well, they are. They are, but according to the enabling law, they can set up ventures. I know some of the river basins own water bottling companies, table water companies. Some are smoking fish. They are leasing out some of the land. They are collecting water rates, and all these monies are going now, especially now with TSA, the monies are going into government coffers. I've come across quite a number of river basins that have leased out the dams for aquaculture, fish farming, and they are collecting revenue from there. And
collecting water rates from
the users. Under the existing arrangement, even state governments, when we build dams, and state governments are going to tap water to distribute, to treat and distribute to the cities, they are supposed to pay the federal government for that water.
And they don't pay?
Of course now they don't, because the law, there is no enabling law, it's just a regulation. But when we have the water resources law in place, all these things have to be done, because like I said, we'll have a regulator, and these things have to be done.
Well, we look forward to viable projects in the future coming from this ministry. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.